What Corita tells us is that everything you need to make extraordinary work is in your ordinary life. You just have to pay attention to it. Hey y'all, my name is Kleon. I make art with words and books with pictures, so it should be no surprise that Corita Kent is one of my artistic heroes. She was a huge influence on my last book. I wrote about her in 2 separate chapters. I also collect a little bit of her work. This is her poster, Go Slow. This hangs in my office, not in this particular spot, but I wanted to make sure you saw it. Go slow really is the message of the moment. It's time to slow down and see what we can see. Many people have talked about her finders. Corita, like a lot of really great artists, is about looking and about looking at the world in a very particular way. The other thing I love that Corita said is that art isn't the right word for what we're doing. It's the uncommon. You know, it's taking the common and making it uncommon. The ordinary plus extra attention equals the extraordinary. There's a beautiful story about a journalist who goes to visit her after she moved from LA to Boston. And, you know, I live in Austin, Texas, so, like, we've got 2 seasons, you know, warm and hot. And it's kind of the same in LA, right? It's always nice there. But when she moved to Boston, she really gets a taste of the seasons. And this journalist comes out and visits her and says, "What have you been doing?" And she says, "I've been looking at that maple tree outside." And the journalist is like, "What? What do you mean?" And she's like, "You know, I've never had time to look at a tree before and watch it change." She said, "You know, you look outside right now, you look at that tree, then it looks dead. But there are things happening inside that tree. And there's life that will burst forth come in the spring." And she said, "I feel the same way. You know, it might not look like there's much going on right now, but there are things developing inside of me that I know will blossom and shoot forth later." And one of her former students said that tree was the great teacher of the last part of her life. That's just been such a wonderful, wonderful comfort to me. Part of the job of the artist is to know what season you're in, right? Sometimes it's spring, sometimes it's summer, sometimes it's fall, and sometimes it's winter. This idea that we all have seasons, that creativity has seasons, and we have to know what season we're in and act accordingly. Which is something that Thoreau said. Corita is in between 2 of my big heroes, Andy Warhol and Henry David Thoreau. And just like Thoreau said, that you have to know what season you're in and act accordingly. And I think that was another great message of Corita. And I don't know if you can hear them in the background, but I'm at home. I've been at home with my sons, who are 7 and 5, for, in fact, 75 days. And Corita had this wonderful assignment in learning by heart. The assignment was borrow a kid. When you borrow a kid, you get to look through their eyes, and they see the world without a lot of names for things, and they have this sort of unfiltered way of engaging with the world. That command has meant a lot to me as a father. I think a lot of creative people, when they think about kids, they think about kids as a antithesis to making great art. But in my experience, I found that children to be a great catalyst to making art, taking in their kind of unfettered creativity and their approach to life. Being around young children, and particularly children who haven't been to school yet, can just be this wonderful experience for artists. So I really recommend it. I don't necessarily endorse having children, but hanging out with children for sure. So I rip off Corita a lot now, and when people are stuck, I say, you know, borrow a kid, spend a little bit of time with a 4-year-old, and it'll get you back in touch with that, a lot of that creativity.